Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Barry Clark here from Dunedin Consultancy. Thanks for joining me at this lunchtime session at the Social Media and Marketing Show brought to you by Hashtag Events. Let me start off by asking you a question. Do you consider that you work in sales? I'll let you ponder that one for a little second. Do you consider that you work in sales? The reason I ask you that, I had a fascinating conversation with a contact recently, and I was a little surprised when they turned around and said to me, I'm not really any good at sales. I don't work in sales. Now, the reality is, this is a small business owner. This is somebody who leads their own organization. And my question was, if they don't work in sales and they're the primary person, the decision maker in that business, then who does work in sales? So let me pose that question to you again. Do you work in sales? Are you the leader, the owner of a small business? Are you a solopreneur? In that case, if you're a solopreneur and there is only you in your business, if you don't work in sales, who does? So I'm Barry Clark from Dunedin Consultancy, and I help small business owners to uncover just what is stopping them from making enough sales. More importantly, I share with them my 30 years experience in sales and leadership roles, and I help them to achieve the greater sales success that they know that they deserve. In today's presentation, I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes or so sharing with you some of the key messages from my brand new book, Selling Made Simple, where I share elements of my signature sales process to help people just like you improve your selling skills and become more effective and have a better sales process within your business. Now, everybody that I talk to tells me they want to win more sales, but lots of them also tell me that they worry about being that pushy, overbearing, salesy type salesperson. You know the kind of character, we've all met them at some point in our lives. The Del Boy character, the dodgy product that doesn't quite work. You know, remember that episode of Only Fools and Horses where he had the dolls he was trying to sell at Christmas and they spoke Japanese or Korean or something like that? If you're a little bit older, like me, you might remember Arthur Daly, you know, the dodgy secondhand car salesman from Minder, going back a bit further. You know, sell you any old car, any old clapped out heap, as long as to get it off the forecourt and get your money out of your pocket and into his. We've all met those kind of characters. No wonder we have such a jaded impression of the sales industry, the selling process, and being sold to. You know, someone recently told me a survey within the automotive industry had found that 67% of the UK population were nervous and didn't want to set foot inside a car sales room. That's shocking. 67% of people felt uncomfortable about walking into a car sales room. Now, let's face it, buying a new car, probably one of the second or third biggest purchases that we'll make in our lives after setting up a business, after buying your home. It's a huge purchase that we make. And of course, we're anxious, we're nervous, we want to make sure that we get the best for our money and that we're not being taken advantage of. So I often ask people, what is it about the salespeople that you've encountered? What is it that makes you think about they're a good salesperson? Now, the answers I invariably get back are they were pleasant, they built some rapport with me, they took time to listen to what I had to say, and they made suggestions and recommendations to make the purchasing process for me really easy. In other words, they didn't sell to me, they helped me to buy, they helped me to make a purchase. I also flip the question the other way and I'll ask people, what have been the poor sales experiences that you've encountered? And generally, the answers I'll get there are they weren't listening, they were quite pushy, they were trying to persuade me to buy a product that actually wasn't comfortable with, didn't really fit what I was looking for. Now, I bet that sounds familiar. You're bound to have encountered the same kind of experiences yourself. So I really want to share three core messages with you today. The first one of which is, if you want to achieve greater sales success, stop trying to sell so hard. Yep, really, I did just say that. Stop trying to sell so hard. I want you to stop trying to sell and I want you to start trying to help people. Now, you know, there's no mumbo jumbo going on here. It's a really important shift in your mindset because if you set out to help people, then you don't have to sell the product or services that you provide. Because what you're doing is you're presenting people solutions to the problems or the aspirations that they have. Now, generally what I find, if your business is in the business to consumer, if you're in the B2C field, people's purchasing habits are largely driven by they're attracted to health, to wealth, or something that's going to appeal to their ego. Now, we all have an ego, so let's not react to that word. We all have one, and it plays a big part in our purchasing decision making. Okay, so people are looking for things that are going to make them feel better, look better. People are interested in buying things that are going to make an improvement to their health. People are interested in investing in things that are going to make a difference to their wealth. It's going to earn them more money. Or ultimately, they're looking at something that is ego-driven, that's going to make them feel better intrinsically, whether that be clothing, jewelry, perfume, or such. In the business-to-business world, it's a bit more simple. I always find that in a business-to-business world, people make purchasing decisions for one of two reasons. First reason is they need your product as the raw material for whatever process that they perform within their business. So they need the goods, the raw materials coming in for them to deliver their process to produce their end product. So that's the number one reason in a business-to-business transaction why people purchase from you. The second reason is the one that really, really interests me, which is people will buy from you if you're presenting a realistic and an interesting solution to a problem that they're experiencing in their business. And that's it. That in a business-to-business world, those are the two primary reasons why people will be interested in purchasing your products or your services. So the answer for you to be more effective in your sales process is to be able to appeal to one of those two categories. And I can tell you now, in most cases, you will be having a sales conversation which is based around the factor of my product or my service is going to help your business to overcome a problem that you're encountering. It's going to help you to perform your process, your procedure more efficiently, more quickly, with a lower cost base to produce you a more profitable outcome. So those are the two essences that you need to address in your sales conversations. Now, if you do that from a point of helping somebody, rather than just trying to force and push a sale of something that somebody's not really very interested in, straight away, number one, you are going to be much, much more successful. So tip number one I want you to take away from today's presentation: stop trying to sell, start trying to help people. Now, in order for you to start helping people, you really need to understand what it is that they're experiencing. What is the problem that they're having? What is the barrier that they're looking to overcome? Are they looking to grow their business? Have they reached a staging point where actually they're ready to expand and be able to do much, much more, and they need your help for that? Is it that they've got a problem, they've got an issue within the business that they need a solution to? Is it a tech problem? Is it a people problem? Is it an education, a training problem? Whatever that is, your task as the salesperson is to understand where your prospective customer, the other person, where they're at and what it is they're needing. Now, I deliberately use the word what it is they're needing, because sometimes prospective customers will come to you and they'll say, this is the problem that I'm having and this is the solution I'm looking for. Now, sometimes they're right. They should be, because they'll know their business better than anyone else. But is it always the case that what they think the solution is actually is the solution to the problem that they're having? So sometimes you need to be having that conversation of presenting an alternative solution that isn't actually what they first thought of, but it is really the solution to the problem that they're experiencing. So tip number two, the second thing I'm going to share with you today, and it is in isolation, it is probably the most important part of the whole sales process. And it's about understanding what your customer needs and what they want and what the ideal solution is for them. Now, the way we do this is by having a conversation. You already have heard me referring to a sales conversation a number of times just in the last 10 minutes in this presentation. And the biggest single mistake that I see so many professional salespeople, experienced salespeople, and novices, just like perhaps many of the audience here who are business owners, they've set up their own enterprise because they're really good at what they do, really good at producing the wackets and widgets that you make, or really good at delivering the service that you provide for your clients. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're really good at promoting and selling it. It's a different skill set. And let me take the opportunity here. There's one myth that I really want to dispel. You'll have heard so many times, oh, that guy there, he could sell coals to Newcastle. He could sell ice to the Eskimos. It's just not true. There is no such thing as the natural salesperson. It's people who've learned the skills, they've learned the sales process, perhaps they have some of the natural attributes in terms of some of the softer skills of being able to have a conversation, of being able to recognize people's wants and needs. But they've learned how to do that. And the thing is, anybody can learn how to do that. I promise you, there is not a maternity nurse in the world who's ever turned around to new parents and said, oh, congratulations, Mr. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you've had an international sales director. It's never happened. People who are really good at sales have learned the skills, they've practiced, and they've perfected it. And that's what I want to share with you. So tip number 2, it's all about having meaningful conversations and using high quality open questions, the who, what, why, where, hows, to learn about your customer. And here's the thing. One attribute that all humans have, we love to talk. And we love to talk about one key subject, ourselves. Now, even an introvert like me, and yes, believe it or not, I'm actually at heart an introvert, an extroverted introvert perhaps. We still love to talk about that core product, what we're doing, what we're feeling, what's going on in our business, what's going on in our families. So tip number 2 is it's all about the importance of questioning. And the phrase that I use is it's a qualification. You're qualifying your potential customer to find out what's the situation, what is it that they're looking to achieve, what is it that they're aspiring to, what's the problem that they're experiencing, what is that problem causing, what's the difficulty within the business, what does that difficulty feel like, what is the pain point, what's going on that the person, the business owner, the potential customer is looking to overcome. And the beauty is once you've understood that, then the next part, the third part I'm going to go on to, becomes so simple. So it's all about those open, high quality questions, the who, the what, the why, the where, the when, the how. You know, help me understand, what does this mean to you? What would it look like if we can overcome that problem? How much better would your business performance be if you can solve that problem you've just told me about? And the beauty is, ask the right question, and the person you're talking to is likely to tell you everything that you need to know. And if they haven't quite told you everything, if they dry up a bit, then it's simple. You just ask another question, another one of those who, what, why, where, when. And with no exaggeration, this is probably the single item from the sales process that will have the biggest impact in your results and your ability to engage with your potential customers and lead them on that sales conversation to the outcome you want to purchase. It's all about understanding what they want and what they need. Now, when I was learning sales techniques, it still fascinates me when I'm even now later in the day when I'm teaching the clients that I work with today. It's such a simple concept. Go and have a conversation with the person and find out what it is that's happening, what they're looking for, what they need, and what difference that's going to make. But people find it a real challenge to have that kind of conversation. And you know, one of my challenges is to stop them slipping back into the old-fashioned pitch way of doing things. But I'll say this to you again now. I mentioned it right at the beginning of this presentation. None of us like being sold to. Remember that 67% of people that were nervous, that were fearful about stepping into a car sales room. Why was it? Because they knew that they were going to be sold to. They knew they were going to be pitched at, and they were worried that they were going to come out with a purchase that didn't actually match what they were looking for. So really bear that in mind when you're having a conversation with your clients. And remember, it's all about learning what they're looking for. Now, we've talked about stop selling and start helping. We've talked about having a meaningful conversation with people to really understand what it is they're looking for. Once you've learned all of that, from your qualification conversation, I want to encourage you to learn 3, 4, at most 5 pieces of information. 3 to 4 is ideal, because the real power then is how you bring that all together. And what I'm going to share with you now is the third tip. This is going to stop you from ever having to pitch another customer. Now, I don't know about you, when I'm in a networking event, when I'm meeting somebody face to face, there's that awkward, uncomfortable moment when the other person goes into pitch mode and just starts talking at you. We switch off, the customer switches off, and then it gets a bit awkward, doesn't it? So here's a technique where you will never have to do that again. So stop selling and start trying to help them. Have a decent, high quality qualification conversation to find out what is it that your customer needs, what is it they're experiencing, what is it they're looking to achieve, and how then can you help them to achieve that. Then here's the beauty. The third part of it is, I want you to think about this next stage of the conversation as being a bit like pulling two pieces of a jigsaw puzzle together. Because what you're going to do is you're going to recall what they've told you in the qualification conversation, and then you're just going to repeat that back. You're just going to use that information. And it sounds something a bit like this. You told me earlier on that this is what was really important to you. So let me show you how I can help to make that happen. You told me earlier on, this is what you're looking to achieve. Let me show you how I can help you to make that happen. And it really is that simple. Let me share with you a great example. In my former life, when I worked in the hospitality industry, one of the businesses that I ran was a high-end and high-quality luxury wedding venue. I've spent years, many, many years working in the wedding and events market. And one of the things I really disliked about it was, from a sales and also from an operational point of view, it was really transactional. We didn't spend time getting to know people. So when I took on that business that was the high-end wedding venue, we needed to engage better with our customers. And I developed the process myself and trained it with my team to make our interaction really, really personal. And I had one killer question whenever I was talking to a prospective couple who were looking at our venue for the wedding. I'd sit them down, I'd have the chat. Oh, you've just got engaged. Fantastic. Tell me all about it. And then I'd go quiet and I'd let them talk. And then once they told me about the engagement and how it happened and how they'd asked the question, I'd go in with my killer question. I bet you have been planning your wedding in your head for years. So tell me all about it. And I would just sit back and let people talk. And trust me, they would tell me everything that I wanted to know. And it really was that simple. My job then, once they told me everything that they were looking for, my job was simply to say, okay, so you've told me you're looking for a characterful venue, somewhere that's small and intimate because you just want a small wedding with family and friends and not the big high pressure event. So let me show you this beautiful space that we've got. Take 50 people. You told me it was 40 to 45 you're looking for. Let me show you this perfect room for you. So the recommendations I was making were specific and they felt personal. And the feedback I would get was, wow, you've really listened to what we were saying and you're showing me exactly what I'm looking for. So then it actually became really straightforward and quite simple. It really was selling made simple. Just before I finish, there's one last little tip that I want to share with you, which is another one of the key errors that I often see people make in terms of their sales process and their selling conversations. And it's this: there is no escape from the simple fact that you need to ask for the sale. You can have the most meaningful conversation that you like. You can build fantastic value into your proposition. You can have qualified the person and you've given the fantastic presentation to show how you can address everything that the customer has told you and asked you for. But you've still got to ask for the sale. And so many people feel really uncomfortable in doing that. And I often ask myself, why? Why is that? And I come to the conclusion that it's fear-driven. We're fearful of what might happen. Now, let me put it to you this way. When you ask your potential customer for the booking, for the sale, for the confirmation, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? They might say no. Now, in many cases, you actually want them to say no. There's a great philosophy within the selling world that many customers have to say no before they will feel ready to say yes. That's a whole different presentation, and I could spend the rest of the afternoon talking to you about that. But there's no escaping for the fact you have to ask for the business. So what I want to leave you with is this one simple thought. How simple and straightforward do you make it in your business for your customers to make a purchase? When you walk into John Lewis, when you walk into Marks and Spencer's or any other retail store, you'll be under no illusion where you go to pay for the products that you want to purchase. Have you got the big pay here now sign in your business? How comfortable and confident do you feel in asking for the sale? I've been Barry Clark. Thanks so much for your attention over the last 20 minutes. I hope that you can take those 3 pieces of advice, implement them today into your business, and you will start on that journey to achieving greater sales success. I'll be around right now within the social media and marketing show to answer any questions that you have. So pop your comments down. I hope you have been through the presentation. If you're watching this on replay, you're very welcome to contact me afterwards with any queries that you've got. And it would be a great pleasure to have a conversation with you. Social Media Marketing Show. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks ever so much. And I hope to speak to you soon.